people, thank you. So we have 3 of our affiliate members joining us today. We have Chet Dudzinski he's a publisher for Homes and Land of the Delaware and Lehigh Valleys. We have Tom Southwell from Inspection Professionals, and we have Amy Burridge from Bucksmont Social Media Marketing. So we really appreciate you taking the time to teach our members, and we appreciate our members coming and joining us today. Chet's going to be on first. So Chet, I'm going to start sharing your screen and mute myself.
Okay. Okay, very good. Thanks. Thanks, Lisa, and welcome to everybody who's joining us. I have a presentation, growing your client base. So next slide. So growing your client base is really common sense. Some of the things that you need to do that will work. And growing your client base is really not just one thing that you can do to grow your client base. You want to do several things that work in conjunction with each other. So what I'm going to do is talk about word of mouth, quarterly emails to your clients, families, friends, social media postings, and then diversified marketing and advertising. So I'm going to talk about each one individually and show you how together they will really work to get you many more clients. Okay, next slide. So the first one is growing your client base, word of mouth referrals. So, and this is all common sense things, but there are so many people that don't do this. Everybody you talk to, you should ask for referrals. So ask every client for referrals. Every client you deal with, get a referral. Ask your personal service people for referrals. For example, your plumber, your painter, your hairstylist, your accountant. When you're sitting there talking to them, say, hey, here's my card. If you have anybody needs an excellent agent to help them, I'm available. It's a numbers game, right? So the more you do this, the more chances you're going to get more clients. Ask all your friends and extended family for referrals. Ask referrals to refer you as well. So the referrals they give you, ask them to give you referrals. I don't know if it ever happened to you guys, but it's happened to me where I've had a friend or an extended cousin, aunt, uncle say to me, oh, shoot, I just sold my house and I forgot you were a realtor. Constant reminder to your extended family and your family. And then all these people need to be reminded over and over again that you're a realtor, so that when someone asks them if they know a good agent, you come to mind first. Again, it's repetitive reminders. If you talk to somebody once a year, they're not going to remember, and you're going to miss out on a really good lead. Next slide. The next thing is quarterly emails. So my recommendation is organize, and I apologize if some of you are doing this, great. If you're not, try it. Organize and update your total contact list and email them all on a quarterly basis so you stay top of mind. If you do it on a quarterly basis, then you don't forget who you reminded, who you didn't. So quarterly is a good time frame. It's not too much and it's not too little. Include market updates, giving them useful information about the market, or you can email them a pleasant greeting like for each major holiday. I don't know about you, but I see less than 6 agents that do this, that I see on my email. It's a really smart way. It's a good excuse for you to just remind everybody you're here, you're ready to work. And then email them with a home tip, for example, preparing for the sale of your home, etc. Those kinds of tips. Anything you can think of on a quarterly basis, shoot them an email, the whole list, and you will pick up clients that way too. Next slide. Okay, growing your client base again. Social media posts, this is huge. Post often on your social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't forget LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very, very powerful. Post all of your active sold and sold listings. Post interesting real estate-based facts and home tips. Don't forget about LinkedIn. It's an excellent place to put you front and center. And then keep your website up to date and current at all times. Next slide. Okay, diversified marketing and advertising. So, so all these four things you want to do. So marketing and advertising. So diversify your marketing and advertising to several venues for maximum reach. So examples, okay, print advertising. For those folks who prefer print versus searching the web and for instant exposure. So picking up our magazine, for example, at a Wawa or a Giant or local pizza shop. It's also a great tool to take to your listing appointments. The next thing is websites, personal, office, BCAR, third-party websites linked to your business. So link your business to all these websites. It gives you much more exposure. Direct mail to targeted home buyers and sellers based on the right demographics. Direct mail really to targeted home buyers and sellers is very powerful. You would think it doesn't get you a lot of leads, but all you have to do is hit 3 to 5 people that are ready to sell and they pick up the phone. So it's a very lucrative and solid way to do it. Third-party organizations, utilize these to extend and maximize your exposure to home buyers and sellers. So third-party organizations like BCAR, MCAR, Home Builders Association, all those guys. And then social/business events, as many of these as you can, because you can just meet people one-on-one and introduce yourself and really get your face out there. Next slide. So this slide here is how can Homes and Land help you? So you need to do all the other 3 things. I can help you with the diversified marketing and advertising. So what we do is we touch on all the things I just went over for you. So we do a high quality print magazine. We distribute that to 5 counties, 350 locations. We have a 46,000 readership per month for this magazine. Your listings in the magazine get sent digitally to 20 major publications. For additional search. Capability to link your listings to all your social media pages through our portal. We can help you do that. Virtual online interactive magazine with search and drill down capabilities nationally. A complimentary website to all advertisers in Homes and Land. Direct mail, we send direct mail out every month to targeted home buyers and sellers in all the major counties that we're in. Custom page ad design, we do that. And then national Homes and Land online search capabilities for home buyers looking to move into your area. So if you do the first 3 and we help you with this one, you're going to get many more clients. So that's my presentation. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. So I'm ready for questions.
I think we're going to do question. I mean, you do have a couple minutes, or we could wait till the end if somebody has a specific question. Let me just check the chat.
We can, either way, I'm sorry. We'll do it at the end.
Okay. And if you have a question, just put it in the chat and make it to everyone. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Chet. I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay.
And again, everyone will receive a copy of your presentation.
Awesome.
With the recording, and that does have your contact information.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
So, sure. And our next speaker up is going to be Tom Southwell from Inspection Professionals. Thanks, Tom.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tom Southwell. As Lisa just mentioned, I'm with Inspection Professionals. Inspection Professionals performs general home inspections, wood destroying insects inspections, radon testing, and stucco moisture probe testing. So, we're like a one-stop shop. So I'm going to share my PowerPoint presentation. Okay. So hopefully everyone can see my screen. It starts with the importance of home inspections. So why do we need to have these home inspections? So let's get started. So is a home inspection needed? Obviously, the short answer is yes. As a home inspector, obviously, I'm a little biased. So it makes sense that I'm here to tell you that you do need home inspections. The biggest thing, and one of the phrases that I use quite frequently on the job is, you don't know what you don't know. So when I get there, I'm there to give you a presentation. I'm there to walk you through the house and talk to you and identify as many of the components and look for as many defects and as many safety concerns as we can find. So you ask, why is a home inspection needed? Well, a home inspection is needed to find these safety concerns, to prevent lawsuits, to prevent future costs for both agents and your prospective clients. What keeps the clients up at night? These are important things to find out about before settlement, obviously. Once settlement happens, there's not a lot that can be done. So how do you choose a home inspector? What are his communication skills? How is his experience? So there's a lot of things that goes into finding the right home inspector and what that home inspector is going to provide. So first, lawsuits. So Inspection Professionals handles roughly 3 to 6 expert witness cases a year. Since August of 2021, we have been contacted. There's been an influx because it has been such a seller's market. We've seen more and more buyers having to waive contingencies, such as a general home inspection, such as a termite inspection. So these are things that obviously are very important into determining the house as an asset. And for liability purposes, obviously, we want to document and find out as much as possible before settlement and give the client as much information as possible. Identifying safety concerns, risks, and educating the buyer to help anyone make sense of the issues. So there are certain things that you're going to get with one home inspector that you might not get with another home inspector, like how old is the roof? What is the predictable design life on the roof? The best way to find out these things about the roof is to walk the roof. Not all home inspectors will walk the roof. And there are obviously safety concerns where some houses, you just can't get up on the roof. But I would say 99% of the time, the inspectors at home inspection professionals walk the roof. It's really the best way to determine the condition of the roof and some of the components on the roof, let alone the age of the roof. Some home inspectors will fly a drone over, and in some cases, that's the only option. But really, the only and the best way to determine the age is to have your feet on the roof and feel those granules underneath your feet, because that's how you really determine the age of it and the condition of the asphalt granule shingles. Next. Okay. So again, finding the right home inspector. So obviously, the attitude, the way things are presented, is extremely important. You can say something one way and it's taken as a negative, or you can say it in another way that punctuates the positives and still communicate what's going on, how things can be maintained, how things can be repaired or replaced. So being able to impart certain things to the client without alarming them is key in the home inspection business. So it requires excellent communication skills. So it's not always what you say, but how you say it. Another thing that is very important is obviously being professional, respectful. The seller's home, it's not our house. It's not the buyer's house yet. So we're only there as guests. So another big part of being a home inspector is, respecting the seller's, asset at that point. So a lot of home inspectors, as soon as they see something, they recommend further evaluation. There's instances where if there's staining on a ceiling, the first thing a lot of home inspectors will say, they'll identify the staining and then they'll say, recommend further evaluations. Well, what good is the inspector if he's not going to draw any conclusions and show confidence in those conclusions? So a good example is if you see staining on a ceiling, well, if the staining is on the second floor, there's a good chance the staining is from a water leak from the roof, obviously. If the staining is on the basement ceiling, it's much more likely that it is a plumbing leak. So saying that further evaluations are required, that doesn't really make sense when, if you just think about it, if you're educated and experienced, you can really draw some well-educated conclusions to what we're looking at. Obviously, we want to draw and come up with as many conclusions as possible, because if me as a home inspector, if I tell the buyer that I recommend further evaluation by a structural engineer, I recommend further evaluation by a plumber, I recommend further evaluation by an HVAC specialist, who does that all get dumped on? That's all now the responsibility of the agent to go and find these specialists to determine what is happening and to further evaluate. And obviously, real estate is very time oriented. Most agents realize the importance of moving quickly, and there's always a time crunch. So it's my job to draw educated conclusions to what I'm seeing and not just kick the can down the road and say, I recommend you bring someone else in to look at this. Obviously, there are going to be certain instances where, I find an issue that requires an HVAC specialist to come in, but those are not the norms. Those are not my defaults. It's up to me to draw conclusions to what I'm seeing. All right. So how much does the inspection cost? So there are a lot of inspectors out there, and you may find that the prices vary considerably. So if price is a factor, there are certain things that we want to look at before we decide, okay, this is the guy that we're going with. So whether it's inspection professionals, or you have a friend of the family, or someone that's been in business for 10 years doing home inspections, how long they've been in business might not be an accurate representation of how many home inspections they've done. So it's more important to know how many inspections the person does on a yearly basis than how long they've been in business. Because you would think if a home inspector's been in business for 10 years and they say, I have 2,000 home inspections under my belt, that's not a lot of home inspections for 10 years. The average home inspector should do approximately 400 a year. So we would want to know how many home inspections is this person doing a year to really get a better idea of their experience. Now, when will the report go out? One thing that inspection professionals always has hung their hat on is we send all reports out the same day. So if I did an inspection this morning, you're getting it before the end of the day. Not a lot of home inspectors do that. But again, knowing the importance of how timely some of these agreements and some of these deals have to be executed, we try and get it out and always get it out the same day. It's something that, is a big part of what we provide to both the buyers and the agent. So you can immediately start to move on your negotiations. Are they an ASHI member? That's obviously a minimal state requirement in the state of Pennsylvania. Do they walk the roof? How much hand holding do they do? As a home inspector, I do a lot of home inspections for first-time home buyers. And I can tell you the home inspection process is a presentation. I walk clients through every area of the house as we're doing the inspection. and I'm big into answering questions. But most times home inspectors, or I'm sorry, clients, buyers, they don't know what they're looking at. So there's a lot of hand holding that goes on. And like I said, I do many home inspections for first time home buyers. And there are certain things certain questions that I've heard, 100 times that, okay, these are things that we're going to talk about right away. Like, where is the main water shut off? I always take the client over, show them where their main water service is, tell them how to shut it off in case of an emergency. These things really go a long way and really provide a lot of confidence in what we're providing and what I'm discussing. So a lot of hand-holding during home inspections, depending on, obviously, the level of experience or how many homes the buyer has had in the past. Obviously, there are different questions that go from a first-time home buyer to a man who's in his 60s, and this is his fourth house. So they're looking for different information, and obviously different questions come about between those two types of buyers. All right. So as a home inspector, can we show up and deliver information? Can we provide, an experience that is going to leave all parties feeling like they were better informed, that they left understanding much more about the house, and they just have a good feeling about what they just went through, not where it's all doom and gloom and all I heard about were the negatives. That's not what we're providing, and that, as an agent, that's not what you want to hear. You want to hear the positives. So as I deliver my presentation, a big part of it is punctuating the positives. So obviously, things that aren't working the way they're designed to work, things that are safety issues, that goes without saying that I'm going to bring it up. But I want to then tell the client, this is an easy fix. Oh, this is a pretty minor cost to repair, or this is something that I see in every home inspection. It's not something to raise red flags over. So like I said, a lot of home buyers, they don't understand that. So a big part of my presentation is understanding and allowing the client to understand the severity or the lack thereof. Okay. So this goes back to, this piggybacks on what we were talking about with walking the roof. It's extremely important to understand that walking the roof is by far the best way to determine the condition of the roof, as well as the age of the roof. Okay. So building relationships. Inspection professionals and all the agents, tuning in today, we're all in the business of building relationships. What do we want to bring? We want to bring confidence to what we're doing. We want to, have a nice rapport with the buyer. So again, they feel, they have a positive feeling when they leave the inspection and realize it was worth their time coming and learning and hearing about the house. Building relationships is also a great way to build, repeat clients. And also what Chet said about having referrals and, having your name out there as much as possible. If a buyer leaves an inspection, feels great about what happened, and after settlement, they're much more likely to recommend their agent and their home inspector to any friends or family who are then looking to, buy a new home or to move. And obviously the buyer wants to feel respected. They don't want to be put down or made to feel like they don't, understand and, belittled in any way, obviously. So like I said, I've heard a lot of questions, and, a question that I hear quite frequently is cracking in drywall. So, that's just something that drywall does over time. So even though, a seasoned home buyer knows that there's going to be some cracking in the drywall, first-time home buyer might not realize that. So explaining in a way that makes them feel positive and, oh, okay, that's, not a silly question, then, it makes them have a positive feeling about the experience. And do they feel appreciated and educated from the education that they receive? So again, these are all things that we want to use and utilize to build a relationship between the agents and the buyers, and that going forward, that always pays dividends. So that's my presentation. Here's Inspection Professionals. Here's our office number. So if you are looking for any general home inspections, wood destroying insect inspections, radon, or stucco moisture probe, this is our office number. And thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you, Tom.
No problem.
And as a reminder, if you have any questions for any of the speakers, please put it in the chat and put to everyone, and we will go over questions after the last presentation. And our last and final presenter is Amy Burridge from Bucksmont Social Media. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Hopefully you can see my screen. So my name is Amy Burridge. I'm the owner of Bucksmont Social Media Marketing, and we help real estate professionals and small business owners and franchises reach more people and the right people with social media. So just a little bit about me. I've been doing this for about 15 years, which makes me sound super old, but I promise I'm not that old. I'm a millennial. And boy, has it changed over the last 15 years. My company was actually voted Best Marketing Company by the Bucks County Herald last year, which was really cool. I am a partner with the Greater New Hope Chamber of Commerce. I'm on their board. I work with the Bolton Mansion on their board. So I do a lot of different community functions. So enough about me. Let's just jump right into it because social media is pretty in-depth. This presentation will kind of just scratch the surface, and we're going to talk specifically about Facebook. And the reason we are talking about Facebook today is because it is ranked as the #1 social media platform in terms of your return on investment. So these are the top 5 platforms. Facebook is #1, which is why we are talking about it today. YouTube Shorts is actually the #2 social media platform in terms of ROI. TikTok is #3. Instagram is #4, and #5 is LinkedIn. So let's just talk a little bit about Facebook. So there's 2 different ways that you can use it. And I actually recommend using a 2-prong approach and using it both ways if you are a realtor. So the first is your personal profile. Some realtors use it. Some people keep their profiles locked down and keep it private. If you are going to use your personal profile, as a method of connecting on a more intimate level with people in the community and your followers, just make sure that you keep it clean. Anything that you would normally post to maybe your college friends or your family, you should kind of have a separate profile for that, or have a restricted audience where you're restricting those posts so that the public can't see them, because there are definitely some things that you don't want people to see. So that's very important to remember. And another reason I really like the personal profile for realtors is because it lets you interact in the group aspect of Facebook. So there are a lot of community groups, like you can join the Hatboro group or the Bucks County Moms group, or Caretakers of Montgomery County, or the Yardley group, the Newtown group, you name it. And there's at least 2 groups for pretty much every town. And some groups do not let your business page join. Sometimes you have to have that personal profile. So I really do like using that aspect for business. The other side of this is obviously the business page. So, you have to set that up separately from your business profile. It is connected to your business profile. That's how you go in and edit things. And it has your hours, it can have a link to your website, kind of all those professional things. People can leave a review, or as they call it on Facebook, a recommendation. You can also even have a group specifically to use for marketing, and it can be tied to your page and people can access it from your page. You can't do that on a personal profile. Yes, you can have groups, but you don't have that integration, that link on your profile like you would on a business page. So they are a little bit different. So that's why I like using both approaches when we're talking in terms of real estate and connecting with people. So there are a lot of different features on Facebook, which is why it can sometimes be overwhelming for people. I like to use both a profile and a business page. If you have the time to dedicate to it, meaning that you have time to make posts that are of value to people and you have time to moderate it, then I do like groups. A group can be a really great tool for showcasing yourself as an expert in your field, but also as an expert in the local community. Obviously, in terms of real estate, I'm going to want to work with a realtor, number one, that's an expert in their field. They really know what they're talking about. But two, also that they know the area, because then I'm confident that they can answer all of my questions in terms of, is this a good neighborhood to move into, the amenities, all of those kind of things. When we're talking about groups, it's also important not to forget about those community groups that I mentioned before. It's really important to join those, and the best way to use them is you don't have to post every day, just occasionally make a post that's something of value. If there's a community member asking a question, where's the best place to go for pizza? Does anyone know a good contractor because I have to have my bathroom remodeled? Those kind of things. If you're on there and you're adding value, you're helping your fellow community members, they're going to see your name. And if you're repeatedly answering questions and things like that, it's just another way to get people to remember who you are. So a really easy way to kind of engage with the community, but on a digital level. And of course, stories, we do have stories on Facebook. Very similar to Instagram. They don't get as much traction as they do on Instagram. Instagram's definitely heavier on stories, but they are of value, and it's a different way, a more intimate way to connect with the people who are following you. And the good thing about stories also is they are temporary. They are 24 hours and then they're off. So if you're doing an open house, you want to maybe showcase a little bit of behind the scenes and maybe a little bit of personality. You want to take a fun picture at your favorite local coffee shop and tag them in your story. That's a really great way to use stories and to get in front of somebody else's audience. And of course, my favorite feature on Facebook is Reels. So Reels, it's a short form video. It's very similar to TikTok or the Reels that you see over on Instagram. So Facebook, it was last November, so November of 2022, they did a really big shift in their algorithm and they started really pushing Reels because they were trying to get more original content and not just repurpose TikToks that still have the TikTok watermark on it, which is a huge no-no for a number of reasons. We can get into that later. But it's a great way to reach people. If I make a static post, so like a photo post, like an infographic, maybe I'm talking about my spring home buyer's guide. I do a static post. It might maybe reach 200, 300, 400 people, or maybe up to 1,000 if I'm really good at sharing into the community groups. But if I do a video on that exact same topic, you're going to reach 10 times the number of people. And it's just because you're changing the method that you're reaching them. The algorithm favors those videos, so you're going to reach more people. So they are really important and they should be a part of everybody's Facebook strategy. I think a lot of people forget about Facebook and they don't really think about it as a video platform, but it is very video heavy, and that's where all of the attention is right now. So let's talk about Reels a little bit more. There are several different types of Reels that you can do. Because the biggest thing I get asked is, what should I be posting about? Or I don't know what to post. I don't want to do videos because I don't know what to post. Well, as a real estate agent, there are actually several different types of videos that you can do. You can do a home tour, which obviously if you have a listing, you can take a traditional approach and kind of just walk through the house. You can narrate, which you obviously cannot do those kinds of things in an MLS video. So you can talk a little bit more about the space. You can add your personality. I saw there's a realtor in New Jersey. She's fantastic. When she did one of her home tours, she did it as a parkour and was jumping off the furniture, and it was absolutely insane, but super entertaining. And it got more than 10,000 views because it was very entertaining. So you can, and that kind of shows her personality a little bit on top of what she does. So it's a really great way to, you know, show a little bit more of yourself. Or you can take the traditional approach. It's up to you. Aside from home tours, you can do a behind the scenes video. You can talk about what your day is like. You know, how many homes do you have to show today? How many showings do you have that day? Maybe you can show, if you're having a stager come in, show the process, show a before and after, or you can do a time lapse video where you're speeding it up, which is also really cool. People love those. You can show the prep work for an open house, all of the things that you have to do to prepare for that. So the possibilities are really endless here, but it's a more intimate look at you and what you do. You can also do market updates. So for these, I really like it when people take a personal approach, and it comes across much warmer and it's much more well received. Talk about what you are personally seeing in the market. You can also do informative videos. The easiest way to think about these are like frequently asked questions. What do people ask you all the time? You know, you can take this as an opportunity to showcase your knowledge and brand yourself as an expert in your field. So you can maybe do a video on like, what's an escalation clause? That's a great one. You know, is it still a good time to buy? That's a question everybody has. So you can do a fresh take and put your own spin on that. What's the difference between a condo and a co-op? So simple things like that. What do people commonly ask? Those are always great video topics. For Facebook, so there are other types of posts you can do besides Reels. You can do what they call static posts. That's like a photo or an infographic or something on those lines. You can do photo albums. So if I have, you know, a new listing coming up, I might make an album on Facebook that has all of my listing photos in it, so then people can take their time and scroll through those. You can also go live, which is amazing. So if I have a business page and I have 100 followers, if I make a post, not all 100 people see it. Usually, if you're lucky, maybe like 10 to 15% might see your post. From there, if people like it, or they comment, or they share, or they tag a friend, they do something, they engage with it, then the algorithm says, oh, okay, well, people must like this. Let's show it to more people. So then maybe it's 20% or 30% of your followers that might see your post. But when you go live, all of your followers get notified that you just went live. So going live is actually a really great way to re-engage with people and remind people that you're there that maybe haven't interacted with your page in a hot second. So it's really great reminder. Hey, I'm here. Take a look at me. Even if they don't tune into your live, they're still seeing your name in the notifications. So that's a really great tool. So if I'm thinking in terms of a really solid Facebook strategy, it's going to incorporate everything we just talked about. It's going to have stories. It's going to have photographs. It might have some text posts, because you can also post external links to your website or a blog post or a magazine article maybe that you were featured in. I'm going to do albums. I'm going to do lives. I'm going to do the whole 9 yards. Just because different types of media resonate differently with different people. So, you know, if I have 100 followers, which hopefully you guys have more than that, but I'm just using 100 for the sake of making math easy. So if I have 100 followers, and maybe some of them are younger millennials, obviously their preferred method of viewing media and consuming data is going to be video. Maybe I'm looking at more like empty nesters. Those kind of followers might be more interested in photo or text post. So that's really why you want to diversify the types of posts that you're doing. And one of the most important things here to remember, not just for Facebook, for all of social media, is that you are a brand. So even if I'm a realtor, I'm a brand. Everything that you post needs to have the appropriate branding on there. And this is branding in general for no matter what your industry is important, but as a realtor, it is incredibly important because you can get fined if you do not follow the proper procedure for labeling all of your social media. Stuff has to be treated as an advertisement, which is really important. Earlier this year, like January, February, I was getting numerous calls from people who said that in Bucks County, realtors in Bucks County, that were being fined over their social media. And the compliance piece they were getting hit with was that their content was not branded. It did not have the proper contact information on it. So social media is a form of advertising, and as a realtor, you really do need to treat it that way. The best practice here is if you're not sure what you should be putting it on and what you shouldn't be putting it on, you can always contact the appropriate people to ask for verification, or when in doubt, put it on everything. It's not going to hurt you to put it on there. So what should you put on there? Your name, your brokerage name does have to be on all of your advertising material in terms of social media. And then just put your phone, email, website, because that's just basic contact information. So if someone's sharing that, or maybe they save the image, so maybe you did a static post, they save it and then they repost it later on their own feed. So now it's not linked to your page. So if your contact info's not on there, they don't know how to reach you. So if it was a really great post or a really great infographic and people are sharing it, you need to take credit for that. So all of your information should be on there anyway. And like I said, if you're not sure what to put it on, just put it on everything. It's better to be safe than sorry. You don't want to get a phone call and have to deal with all of the fines and all of that great stuff. This is my contact information. If you do have any questions, obviously drop them in the chat here. I'm always happy to answer. But if something pops in your mind afterwards, then please feel free to shoot me a text. Text is actually the best way to reach me because I get a ridiculous amount of email. But yeah, I'm always happy to answer your questions. But if you have anything specific, please drop them in the chat. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Amy. Again, as a reminder, if you have any questions for any of our speakers today, please put them in the chat. Right now, there's one for you, Chet. What's the monthly subscription for Homes and Land?
There is no subscription. We publish the magazine. Our revenue comes from the ad revenue, and the magazines are distributed free. So everybody that walks in a Wawa, a Giant, a pizza shop, they're there free. They pick it up. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great to know. And Amy, do you have an example of a Facebook reel?
I do. I'm trying to pull one up on Facebook right now. I actually saw one that I thought was pretty good the other day. So the Facebook Reels look very similar to Instagram Reels. So if you're familiar with how they look on Instagram, that's how they will look on Facebook. And let me see if, okay, here we go. Okay, so this is a realtor that I know on a personal level, not necessarily a professional level, but he does a really great job with his videos. So I am going to pull up, I don't know what the topic is here, but let's do this one. All right, I'm going to share my screen real quick. I don't know if you'll be able to hear the sound or not. We will see. Let's see here. Here we go. Okay, so let me minimize this, and this right here is a Facebook reel. Let's see if I can get the sound.
State of Pennsylvania outside of Philadelphia, raising the transfer tax. Montgomery County, Bucks County, 1% or.
Can you guys hear that?
Yes,
Yep.
It's low, but.
So you guys are both correct. It is 1% per side. So a buyer and a seller will have to pay 1%. In Philadelphia, it's 2.48 per side. So something that you would want to consider, part of closing costs that you would want to discuss with your lenders, with your realtors, and all those that are assisting. Transfer tax. Another caveat, what a lot of realtors may do, again, in the competing offer, they'll say, you know what, buyer, we are 1 of 10. Let's pay the seller's transfer tax. It's only 1%. But heck, what?
So if you noticed on that, there's a few things. One, best practice for reels, you want to keep it 60 seconds or less. His, I think, was like 50 some seconds. So it's perfect because people don't have the attention span for more than 60 seconds. The other thing he did really well, if you noticed, he had 2 end screens with all of his contact information, including his brokerage, super important. And number 3, the trendy thing right now is putting the captions on the reels. The research that I have shows that when you are using captions, people are more likely to watch the video in its entirety because I think they just get caught up in reading. So those are kind of some of the best practices. Hopefully that was helpful. Oh, how you add your broker's info. Okay, so all of that stuff. So typically what I say is you need to make what we call an end screen. So you can do this in any graphics program that you're comfortable using. If you don't use things like Photoshop and Illustrator and all of those complicated things, use something like Canva. Canva, Canva.com. It's a website. You can use the free version. Open up a template that is 1080 by 1920. That is the right size for a reel. Or you could just hit the Instagram story button. It gives you the right size. And then you can use all the tools in there, add a background, add your photo, and then you can type out all of your information on there. And then just download that. Honestly, you can edit on your phone. I edit so many things on my phone. You do not need complicated software to be successful with your social media. So just download that on your phone. And then when you're in Instagram or Facebook or wherever you're making your video, after you upload the actual video portion, you can add another video clip. It doesn't have to be a video. It can be a static image. But with Canva, you can add animations and make text come in and do all kinds of things. So you can either add it as a photo or as a video, and voila, you just hit add clip, add your end screen, and it'll piece it all together for you. Recommended editing software. So there are, if I'm doing captions, like just for captions, there's literally an app called Captions. So it actually does really interesting captions where it can emphasize certain words. You can even opt to hit the AI button where it'll take out any pauses in your video or dead space, which is really nice because it'll condense the video and make it a little bit cleaner. Captions was pretty inexpensive. I don't remember the price off the top of my head, but that's a really popular one and easy one to use. I use a program called Descript, which is actually they do have an app, but I use the web-based version. It's a little expensive and it's a little bit harder to use. So unless you're super familiar with editing software, I don't typically recommend that one. Just use something like Captions. And in terms of piecing the video together, do it inside of Instagram. Instagram's editing tools, super easy to use. And once your video is done, before you post, up top, there's an arrow pointing down. That's the download button. You can download a clean copy with no watermark on it of your video. And then you can upload that video to Facebook, to TikTok, to YouTube Shorts, to LinkedIn, wherever you want to upload it, you can upload it. So you don't need anything fancy. Use Canva to do your end screen if you don't have any kind of great editing skills or someone in your office that can do it. Use the Instagram app. You can use the Facebook app, but I actually think there's more tools for you to use in the Instagram app itself. And then download an app called Captions to do all of your captions and fun stuff like that.
Thank you. I don't see any other questions. So we're going to end. And thank you again, Chet, Tom, and Amy, for this fantastic information. Again, to everyone who's on today, this will be sent to all of you, all members, and you feel free to share it, and it'll be on our YouTube channel. And don't forget, we have our next program, our next Zoom Power Hour is, let me look, it's August 17th, and it's time-saving tech tips. So don't forget to register for that. And again, thank you again, and have a great day, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You have your doctor's appointment.
Okay.